Guanacaste, Costa Rica. If you are joining me live, tell me what you think about the new colors in the background. Be sure to stop by here in the community if you want to see how the office looks now. First and foremost, before I get started, I want to apologize. I did not intend to try some kind of boy band haircut. This is literally just the result of what happens when you're playing tennis far too close to your live broadcast and you don't remember to check very well the mirror before heading out to get on said live broadcast. So sorry for the bedhead. I guess it's a special tribute once again to my mom here as we get started on our broadcast. Today's topic is beach lots for sale. We're going to go strictly over 4 sale properties that are available in the Guanacaste, Costa Rica market. Pablo Arias, super glad to have you join as always. Spectacular that you're tuning in. Don't get people started in the comments, however, with that sort of thread. Anyhow, today we're actually going to get down to some extremely affordable options. I know that there can be a growing perception that in the Costa Rica real estate market, you can only find overpriced, really expensive real estate. And to be honest, as of 2024, you see that the prices have gone up because we've had such a rush, a bull market for sellers here in Costa Rica since 2022. They've been able to, really benefit from people flocking to Costa Rica, and you've seen a lot of these lower priced properties get purchased before everything else. However, we're going to talk about some very reasonably priced real estate that is all in the area south of Playa Tamarindo. We're talking Avellanas, Playa Negra, and Playa Junquillal, of course, our dear little pueblo right here. We're going to go over an ocean view lot in Playa Negra that actually we're hoping that some folks who are in town are going to make an offer. Anyway, we'll talk about some $60,000 home sites that are very close to the beach. We have a big forest lot for $90,000. We're going to talk about 2 of the cheapest properties that put you close to Playa Avellanas. It can be almost impossible to find land near Avellanas these days that's not, priced for absolute $1 million homes. We've got 2 lots at $150,000. We'll talk about 2 properties that are very close to, a very short walking distance from the beach themselves at only $130,000 and $170,000. And finally, we will both have the listings that are available in Tierra Pacifica, the gated community next door. Got to make sure I mark that down because I don't have it here. And we will conclude with pocket listings. Friends have property for sale that I have not done enough to promote. They would take as little as $40,000 for one of their acre plus properties. If you don't have to be extremely close to a beach and you're looking for something affordable, that can be an absolute extremely rare find. Again, that's $40,000 asking price on a lot that is 5,000 square meters. You don't see that very often anymore, and it puts you very close to everything. Thanks very much for tuning in to this episode of Costa Rica Matt here, and stay tuned. Good afternoon and welcome once again. If you're just joining us for the first time, you should be absolutely sure to hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell. I have over 400 videos, or actually we're getting close to 400 videos here about Costa Rica real estate, taxes, cultural issues, everything about moving here. So do me that favor and also like these videos, comment, chime in with your questions. Be more than happy to answer anybody's questions who's able to get to me live here. And of course, if you are ready to start looking at real estate in Guanacaste, if you've been here and decided that this is the region that is right for your investment, do be sure to send me an email to this address, which is pretty uncomplicated, matt@costaricamat.com. I promise the point of that is simplicity, not just glorifying the repeated use of my name. It also has something to do with SEO, I'll be totally honest. Let's get to our topic today. We're going to be talking about beach lots on the market, specifically in the areas south of Tamarindo, which are Negra, Avellanas, and Junquillal. I really want to start by explaining to people where these listings are and also why they are affordable. Here, helpfully, my computer has my live location, just like every other device. And we're sitting right at sort of the southern end of this range. And actually, that's not at all my live location. That's, yeah, that's my private home. So don't look at that. But anyhow, in Junquillal, I'm sitting at my office more like here. And we're going to be talking about real estate that goes towards Tamarindo. But we're not going to get to lots that are in Tamarindo itself. We're going to stay down here in Negra and Avellanas, precisely because the huge real estate rush that has brought so many people to Costa Rica has concentrated lots of them in those tourism areas. If you're looking for real estate that's close to the beach and you also want to be in one of those tourism hubs, it's going to be quite pricey right now in 2024. And really, I couldn't offer you anything other than hyper-priced, really prime real estate with those huge price tags. So let's start with our first property here. I had actually been here just the other day. This is the one we're hoping we have some interest on. We went up to the top of Finca Los Pargos, which is just outside of Playa Negra, right in the middle of this area where we are talking. And frequently I struggle to see a lot of ocean view inventory because there isn't much in Junquillal. This lot just outside of Playa Negra has amazing views. It really has sort of that 270-degree panorama that looks out to the ocean. It may be a slightly fewer degrees, but up there you can really just imagine a house looking in every single direction, having amazing views. And in the Guanacaste market right now, you would typically expect, if you're getting closer to a tourism area, these ocean views can now cost you $600,000 or $700,000. Down in Playa Negra, this has an asking price of $209,000. It has a really large building site. We're not talking just a shelf and then a huge fall. It's got plenty of, sort of buildable area without having to do too much, retaining walls. And like I said, this is a large property, $209,000 asking price. And, it's one of these agricultural lots in a, private community. The important thing being that your neighbors can never be commercial businesses back in this private community. There is some coordination among the neighborhood to keep the roads up. And really, because you've got a lot of construction in a location like that, you find that the security is definitely benefiting from the year-round presence of people coming in and out, checking on homes, living next door, etc. So anyhow, if you're interested in an ocean view lot near Playa Negra, you can contact my absolutely stellar colleague, Camille. Her address is going to be camille@cbpacificrealty.com. Feel free just to reach out to her so that her broker doesn't get in the way of her incredibly speedy communication. Ian, definitely love your question. What would you say is the ratio of locals to tourists / expats in Guanacaste? That is a tough stat to try and pull. It would vary greatly between different beach communities. Absolutely, you're going to see that in Tamarindo, the ratio of expats living in the community to the number of Costa Ricans living in the community has to be an imbalance with many more expats per tico. Here in Junquillal, even after a few years of solid development, you'd really see more of an equal balance. Just because, first of all, it's a tiny town. There are not many Ticos living here. It's not like it's a small, quiet, rural village. And, there are 60 some condos. There are 45, 50 homes next door, probably 80 gringo or foreigner homes in the whole community. So you would definitely see that it's much more close to on par than a place like Tamarindo, where you've got hundreds of condos, hundreds of hotel rooms, hundreds of homes, mansions, a lot more development. So great question. Really appreciate that, Ian. I also did want to say happy Friday back to Paula. Let's continue forth with our next beach lot for sale. I really wanted to get to some extremely affordable real estate soon in this broadcast. And here we go. We're looking at our next listing at just $60,000. And actually, as I say, we're looking at a $60,000 lot. My colleague Dimitri is leaving to show it. It is another one that we're hoping can get some action here. This is, your beach home site. You're a few blocks from Playa Junquillal itself. Now down at the southern end of where we're talking, you are, you can see just in a really residential neighborhood where you still don't have a crazy amount of development. You've got cattle pastures across the road from you in one direction. And actually the two homes built on either side of you are already there, which is definitely a big plus. You also have the home on this corner built as well. So you know who your neighbors are. They're lovely people. Shout out to the various parties involved here and here. I'm sure Carol wouldn't mind me mentioning her name. But here you are, you've got a very flat, buildable spot right on the main road. Be a great place to put your 2-bedroom, 2-bath, simple home. You could wall off the property to have just utter privacy on all sides. And what you're looking at here is the fact that the neighbors have done, their own simple sort of walls along the other side. That is an asking price of $60,000. If you don't quite have $60,000 and you're looking for something just a bit more affordable, you could also come over towards the beach in the direction of Playa Negra and find $59,000 home sites that are actually twice as large as the last property. Here we're looking at 1/4-acre parcels, really buildable topography. They all have a slight rise that would make for good spots for your house on one end of the property or the other. This is a serious seller who, would definitely consider offers on selling all 3 of these properties. Here you can see, that they're really buildable. They are going to be easily permittable. There's not going to be any problems during your construction process. And yes, this is tucked back on a really rural location, sort of an unknown spot where you are behind Paraíso here in the area known colloquially as Calle Perro Loco, named after a local legend. Anyhow, you're sort of in this kind of area where you can get out to 2 different beaches, either to Playa Callejones or out to Playa Junquillal in about 5 minutes, driving, probably about the same amount of time on your bike because of the nature of these just rural roads. And if you're looking to just tuck a home back in the forest here, for $59,000, you've got a 1/4 acre, which typically is plenty of space, for a pretty decent home. You could definitely do something more grandiose, like a 3 or 4 bedroom with a pool, because, a 1/4 acre for a lot of people would be plenty of space. Again, if you're joining us live and you want to ask a question about any of these listings, don't hesitate to do so. My email is matt@costaricamat.com. more than happy to share these listing links with you and to get you more information on any of these properties. I should have noted that the properties that we're talking about are all going to have water and electricity. We're not talking about stuff that is so off the beaten path that you have to bring in utilities. So we're talking about, what I actually consider to be easy to use beach real estate, not something that's only for these extremely creative investors. And again, we will be ending with a $40,000 acre plus option that I just want to put on everybody's radar if getting really close to the beach isn't that important for you, to you. Next, let's talk about a much larger property and go again with a listing that my colleague Camille has. Oh, and I'm trying to pull up the lot at the moment. Just let me try again here with the link and see if I can't solve my own technical difficulty here. Let's hope. Shucks. Let me give this another try. Well, we will just skip to Avellanas properties and try and come back to that large home site tucked in the forest. I was going to go to an $89,000 lot that is a full hectare tucked back in the woods. That is definitely a somewhat adventurous location. It's across this one seasonal creek that in certain years never prevents access. In other years, there are significant periods without the ability to pass that creek. But again, $89,000 puts you back in the forest on an absolutely enormous 2.5 acre lot that's a quarter. Our next listing, we're going to talk about getting close to Playa Avellanas here. And like I said, Avellanas is an area that is shooting, through the roof because of new water access. It's difficult to find properties that are near the water in Avellanas because of all the, sales that have recently happened there. And it can also be tough to, find developable property in general. Frankly, just because a lot of that sort of inventory was the first to be snatched up as soon as there was water access. However, this is exceptional real estate here where we're actually down close to Playa Lagartillo. The turn to Avellanas itself is just up here on this map that is available on our website, cbpacificrealty.com. You're really just a short drive out to Avellanas. And to be honest, anything that puts you this close to Avellanas itself is an increasingly difficult find. I'm hammering home the Avellanas word because that's the beach people have heard of. That's where a lot of people would be Googling and where they want to move. But Playa Lagartillo is itself absolutely lovely and not, it would be an absolutely wonderful place to live close to where you'd be able to really hit the beach and feel like you had your own sort of private, quiet beach versus Avellanas, which, because of its growing popularity, you've got hundreds of people at sunset every day at Avellanas. There would be no one down at Lagartillo or very few people. So you definitely have that balance here at these properties. Again, we're talking 2+ acre lots, $150,000 near Playa Avellanas, just to the south in Playa Lagartillo. So I know a lot of people out there really want to do the Avellanas thing, and you really won't find many other options. As an example of an Avellanas comp, you are seeing 1,000 square meter lots, a very similar distance to the beach, priced higher than $150,000. There's one on the market at $189,000. Another had sold at $125,000 2 years ago. So properties that are actually really in that prime Avellanas spot are gonna carry that sort of $100+ price tag per square meter. Down in Lagartillo, we're doing way better. Once again, with my colleague Camille's listing over there, large properties, 2 acres, and plenty of access there directly to Avellanas. Next, I want to hop quickly back to our map and show you the location of 2 properties that are very, close to the beach. Down here in Junquillal, we're fortunate to have a lot of reasonably priced titled properties here close to the water. You're just far enough away from the ocean itself that you're not even within the 200-meter zone. And up here on this hilltop, where you can walk down to either Playa Boca del Venado or Playa Honda in literally 3 minutes. And, fortunately, it's downhill to the beach. You've got 2 different properties for sale that I'm actually going to be discussing more on my Saturday video about beachside properties. In fact, in that, actually, no, I'm sorry. I already talked about them in my previous drone tour. I started down here at the beach and we flew the drone up to this hilltop. You've got 1,450 square meters right here, closest to the beach, a home site that's easily usable. You're not going to put a 10,000 square foot compound on this property, but it's got plenty of buildable space. You're on a gentle rise up from the road. You could create privacy along the road with a wall. And we basically have this 1/3 acre property here where they're asking $130,000 at this listing profile here. This is our first lot for sale, just like I said, 3 minutes from the beach here in Junquillal. Literally just walk downhill here. And we also have, as I mentioned, a 2,000, so a half-acre piece of land back over here that's asking $170,000. Let me pull up that link here. Oh, and actually I hadn't switched. This is the location of that 2,000 square meter lot. It's actually 2,152 square meters. Here, you'd have a really quick walk down to the mangrove and the gorgeous kayaking there. You also have access again to those two beaches in this direction. And this property is a really reasonable, a reasonable asking price at $170,000. 2,000 square meters, this same distance to the beach currently in Avellanas or in Playa Negra to the north is going to cost you a hefty penny more. In fact, I know of one property that's a third this size that has an asking price of $240,000 walking distance to Playa Negra. So there's, just reasonable price point here because you don't have a world famous surf break down the road. You do have a very quiet community that doesn't have world famous hotels or, absolutely sort of attractions that are bringing people to it. And you have an opportunity to get in at a price point for your land that is probably going to set you up to build a home close to the beach a lot more affordably than some of the homes that are listed on the market. So anyhow, that is listing number 5 here that we're going through with the 2 beach lots that close to the walking distance from Playa Boca del Venado. Glad to hear you like the office remodel, Paula. Probably one of few people who might recognize the difference. Really appreciate the positive feedback. Also, hola to Jeff. Thanks very much for joining. Appreciate it. We are going to continue just barging forth here. Barging forth. That is an odd phrase. With our next beach properties, I'm just getting them copied and pasted into our viewing pane here. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that you can always visit CostaRicaMat.com. And when you get to CostaRicaMat.com, it's actually the source of my email address, you can hit this obvious launch tour button here, and you can start exploring a lot of the the listings that we're talking about here live in our 360-degree environment. The cool thing is that you can visit Negra and Avellanas virtually. You can take these 360-degree drone flights, which are awesome. And if you want to, you can look at which listings are for sale and pull up some of these properties by clicking on those helpful for sale signs. Right now, I did want to take you to Tierra Pacifica. This is the common amenities at the gated community next door to my office. As you can imagine, I'm pretty happy to have this next door. Sorry, my posture's been just off. I'm trying to sort of slouch in here. Let's bring it up here again. Our virtual world, and hopefully I didn't lose the sound there. You can walk around virtually in these amenities and take a look at Tierra Pacifica's gorgeous multi-tiered pool. Looks like we took some of these photos on a somewhat rainy day. Here we're in the pavilion that is the community meeting space. You can go into the yoga salon over here, or you can visit the gym, and sort of check out what machines they have over here. Again, this is all available on CostaRicaMat.com. Within Tierra Pacifica, we currently have the best lot in the community that is available in terms of location, price, for many reasons. The one that I want to start off with, number 9 just came on the market here. It's located close to the guardhouse and close to Tierra Pacifica's amenities at the beginning of the community. If you want to be absolutely private, then the next lot that I'm going to show you is a better option, because this would sort of be right where people, yes, are driving into the community. But the great thing about this property is that, you've got a gentle rise away from the internal road in Tierra Pacifica. You could put your house sort of at the same level that you've got neighbors at here on the neighboring lot number 8. And you could create absolute privacy for yourselves, both down in this direction and on either side of your home using green buffers. All of these lots have plenty of room. Next door, you've got a beautiful Spanish colonial 3,100 square foot home. This was one of the lots that 30 years ago would have had amazing ocean views. Today, you can see the forest cover out to the coast has eliminated all of this kind of view in Junquillal. And so, realistically, you only want to say that you get ocean views if you did an insane, sort of directly up house. That was very basic vocabulary. My apologies. I've been going here steady, just rambling on. But anyhow, you can see how you would have originally gotten these ocean views and how today, the tree lines make it so that you would have to go really to the maximum possible height to get somewhat peekaboo views of the ocean. As I mentioned, there's another lot for sale in Tierra Pacifica that is lot number 73. It has the exact sort of opposite profile of lot number 9 in that this is tucked in an absolutely private corner of Tierra Pacifica. On every side, you have green zone except for this little common border with your built neighbor in this direction. So this is tucked back on a private spur, sort of where there are only access to these 2 lots. And again, you have this really nice, just sort of knoll to build straight up, on the highest part of the lot. You look out in every direction on beautiful forest. You could really just sort of have your decks in every direction. Again, there are the amenities. This is where you're tucked in the woods. And every lot in Tierra Pacifica is really only about a mile walking distance from the beach. The community comes with 24/7, 365-day per year security. They have that pool, yoga salon, tennis court, gym, all of the amenities. They have hiking trails. They also have 80 acres of green zones there in Tierra Pacifica. So it's a high quality gated community here in Junquillal. It's for people who love nature and really want to get the best part of Costa Rica. And, in the area, you find few functioning gated communities with available real estate, following this rush. It can be tough to find high quality properties. So you've got two lots in there, 197 and $239,000. There's a third lot in the community that's listed where, some past HOA fees and other situations make it more complicated, in my opinion. If you want to see all of the properties available in Junquillal, Negra, and Avellanas, do be sure to send me an email to matt@costaricamatt.com, either on myself or I'm switching between subject pronouns and not hitting them right. But anyhow, I would be happy to show you around. And if I'm not available, someone from my world-class team, Camille, Jurgen, Mariam, Dimitri, Larry, everybody involved would be happy to host you and show you these properties or the other ones that are available. I should have mentioned at the beginning, clearly there are thousands of land listings in Guanacaste, and I could never cover every single one. To conclude today, I will get to the $40,000 pocket listing, the location and details of that property. Again, that's an acre property for just $40,000, helping, sort of friends that I should have helped sell their property more. But anyhow, before we get to that, I did want to mention that next Friday, as always, I will be back here on YouTube live with more relevant Costa Rica real estate information. I did also want to thank from the bottom of my heart my clients to whom this channel is dedicated. These are the people who decide that my guidance is worth hiring me to actually help them buy or sell real estate somewhere in these areas. The clients that actually call me prior to purchasing and selling real estate to say, hey, I want your services or the services of your team. I can't thank you enough. People like Kurt and George, who are just back in Tierra Pacifica now. Congratulations. People like all of our clients out there who keep food on my table. I can't say thank you enough for actually hiring me for my services. So let's talk about our $40,000 acre properties. You will not find near beach lots that are a full acre for $40,000, I'm afraid to say. If you want to get $40,000 pieces of land, you're going to have to go a little bit further inland. But the amazing thing about these properties is that they are extremely close to a paved highway. And functionally, they end up being a quick 20-minute drive to pretty much every beach, whether it's Tamarindo that you want to go visit or Junquillal, Negra, Avellanas. You've got quick access because of this pavement. We're coming a little bit inland here towards the beautiful cattle pastures surrounding Lagunilla, Santa Cruz. And I'm even going to have to find where, orient myself here and give you the exact location of these properties. Here, as we come in to a private road, once again, this is an agricultural community, you have agricultural lots that are restricted to residential use. Right in here, you turn off the paved highway. Now, this is just beautiful countryside. You're rolling through an gorgeous valley in Guanacaste. Santa Cruz, with a first aid clinic and all of the banks, etc., is just really 10 minutes down the road. That's where you have an awesome farmers market every Saturday. And again, 20 minutes out in this direction, you're hopping out to Tamarindo. You can come down and see me here in Junquillal. These lots measure 5,000 square meters. They are over on this side. I swear to goodness, we're going to locate them here in just a second. And yes, as you come in to this private neighborhood just off to the side of, oh my gosh, let me get these located. It's because there's two of these farms that have exactly the same layout, very close together. I've come up to this place a million times. Here is the actual road. Yeah. You've got a mountain road that climbs up the hillside here and goes around the farm and comes back out. This actually is inaccessible at the very back. You've got some beautiful view homes up here. We're talking about properties that are nestled right in here. 5,000 square meters. That's 1.25 acres for $40,000 asking price. There might even be some flexibility. You're right here, folks, in the heart of Guanacaste. You've got plenty of buildable space right now. The area is literally just cattle pasture. There's grass that they were growing there for feeding, animals, not just your typical grasses. So you've got to clear the land, but it's very usable. If you want to know more about that property or the other listings you've seen today, be sure to send me that email once again to matt@costaricamat.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. It's always a pleasure, and see you next week.